So this is above eye level, and this is below eye level. So adjust accordingly or work with me here. So what we're going to do is cylinders. So what we're going to start with is what's called an ellipse. So that forms the bottom of a cylinder, and the sides are straight, and the top is the front edge of an ellipse. If it were see-through, you could see the back edge, something like that. And you can erase that, please, in this drawing. So we're not going to do them see-through. I want you to have them erased, so they are opaque. So if it's below eye level, you could be able to see the top part of that cylinder like this. Again, the bottom edge is rounded as if it were a see-through. If it were see-through cylinder, you would be able to, it was the front edge of that ellipse. So notice how close we are to eye level and how thin of an ellipse we have. Some mistakes I commonly see are ellipses that are drawn with pointy edges, so I don't want to see that. I also make sure that you round those edges like that. So it takes a little bit of practice. Rounded edges, no matter how thin or wide they are, they're rounded, not pointy like eyes. A lot of people draw them like pointed eyes. They're not like that at all. Another mistake I see is mushrooms, like this, or top hats, like this. So I don't want to see that either. I'll just mark them wrong. So don't be sloppy. Take your time, and it does take a little practice. So rounded corners, making sure that you practice those, and the more you practice, the better you'll get. Okay, so now I want to talk about how the ellipse changes as you get further away from the eye level. So look at the distance here compared to this first cylinder that I drew, how that's changed a little bit. So as I go up, that ellipse actually gets a little bit wider. Same shape, but that curve becomes a little more drastic. So see this distance compared to this distance compared to this distance. Same thing goes for down below eye level. The further you get away from eye level, the wider your ellipse gets. And that goes for the same thing of the bottom of it. It's an ellipse too, don't forget that. If it was see-through, it would get wider and wider as it changes as you get away from eye level. So I always get the question, what if it's right at eye level? So if you have a cylinder of some kind of jar or something that's right at eye level, you can't see inside of it or underneath it. So that's pretty much what it looks like. If you hold a soda can in front of you and you lift it up until the bottom of it is right at your eye level, it becomes totally flat. The top of it, however, does have a curve to it because it's still an ellipse. So if it were see-through, that ellipse would be there, but the bottom is flat. So let me go back to this situation where you can't see the top of it or the bottom of it. If it were longer, say a tall water bottle or something, it's in front of you. You just have to consider that the bottom of it is more curved than the top part of it because it's closer to the horizon. Okay, now we're going to talk about the vanishing point and how it relates to what we have been discussing and cylinders. So I'm going to sketch in some 1-point cubes to help you kind of put everything together. And then we're going to talk about cylinders on their side. Is going to be to the left of eye level. So this is eye level here, and we're going to draw it with an ellipse. It's going to be on the left. So it's going to go in this direction and curve on the bottom. So now we're going to take this very cylinder and we're going to flip it to become on this side of the vanishing point. So you can see how they sort of face each other, and if you follow those same rules, they get further and further apart as they go further and further away from the vanishing point. Now, it doesn't matter if they go down at all if they're on their side. You still won't change the ellipse at all. It will stay the same if it's on its side. What matters is the distance that it is from the vanishing point. That's what will change your view. So I have this little chart that helps to maintain kind of consistency throughout with your ellipses. And on your drawing, you can do this on the side or on the top or bottom and just keep it kind of as a guide. And it's a good way to start to develop some kind of consistency. Okay, let me show you a couple of drawings here to get your creativity going. So this is a drawing that follows cylinders and eye level. So if you see where things are cut into, cylinders cut into cylinders, this is your vanishing point. This is to the right of eye level. This is above eye level, to the left, to the right. If you understand all of those and want to try some of these things, go for it. It's definitely not required. You can pause the video and come back to that or try some of those things if you want to. If you're not understanding cylinders, I probably recommend you don't go there. This drawing involves cubes, stacking, cutting into all of those things, including cylinders, and actually including cones, which I'm going to go over in we'll just go over it right now. That's again an upper level drawing. If you're still struggling with cylinders, I want to see that you have a basic understanding of those. So to draw a cone, you are just adding on a basic triangle to the ellipse. Sometimes you can see the ellipse, sometimes you can't. It depends on which direction the cone is facing, on if you can see this part or not. So if it's on the left of the vanishing point, you can see that ellipse. If it's to the right, you cannot see that ellipse. But if you take that cone and flip it the other way, that changes the way that you have to draw the cone on whether you can see the ellipse or not. Okay, so if you're feeling overwhelmed or lost, hopefully this will help. We're going to go ahead and go back to above eye level and below eye level. So if we take this cone and position it pointing up above eye level, you'll be able to see the bottom. And if I move it down, you will not be able to see the bottom. If I take this cone and flip it over, pointing downwards, I will be able to see the bottom. If I move it up, can't see the bottom. So there's some very specific rules that you have to follow, and it's very easy for me to grade because they simply look wrong when you draw them incorrectly. It doesn't look believable. So for example, if you draw this up in the air, it's very unbelievable. So it's easy for me to spot it, that there's something in the air that I can see the bottom of. Same with this. When I'm looking at your whole picture, I know that I should be able to see the bottom. So while we're talking about it, let's talk about grading cylinders. Same thing goes for cylinders that are drawn in the wrong place incorrectly. So ask yourself, what is wrong with this cylinder when it comes to where the vanishing point is? It's very easy for me to grade these because they are either right or wrong. And if you don't understand why that one was wrong, you need to go back and watch this video. I'm going to draw another one that's wrong, and you need to be able to answer, why is that wrong? If you can't, then you do not understand cylinders thoroughly, and you don't understand them well enough to show me. You certainly don't understand them well enough to do this. So don't even go here if you don't. Those of you that do, let's see what you got. Be creative. Try these things. Try cutting into. Try stacking. Incorporate everything together.